But I want to introduce Bill at this stage. So Bill started with Supermums alumni. Bill Ward is one of our Supermums alumni, and he started with the Salesforce admin course and then progressed to the consultancy skills course. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen at the moment, but I just wanted to show his LinkedIn banner, because I think it's lovely how Bill is now presenting himself as an independent Salesforce consultant. He's had the confidence to do that, which is lovely. And has successfully won work as a self-employed Salesforce consultant. So, Bill, I'll stop sharing my screen and put you in the spotlight. It would be lovely for you to share. Let me find the spotlight. Spotlight for everyone. There you go. You have the spotlight. Bill, it'd be lovely for you to share with everybody, I suppose, your journey. You know, what you were doing before, why you chose to launch into Salesforce, and you know, the benefits you've gained from the courses really, and obviously the consultancy skills course on your journey, and where you want to go next. So I'll hand over to you to just share your experience for a bit.
Oh, thank you, Heather. Yeah, no pressure then. So if you've looked at all at my LinkedIn profile, you'll see that I have a bit of an eclectic mix of a background, but I'll try and keep it short and sweet. So I graduated with an engineering degree many years ago and went into engineering for a time in what was known as avionics, which was electronics for airplanes, because I had this underlying interest in airplanes. And after a time of doing that, I was rather bored and wanted something more exciting. So I took myself away, got myself trained up as a commercial pilot. And I was in the air transport industry for, 25 or so years, flying around as an airline pilot. But also I got some really, really good skills by not just spending the time in the cockpit, but I spent time as a senior manager and director in flight operations, which really is the sort of organization and the infrastructure of an airline that makes sure that you have the right airplanes in the right place with the right pilots trained and so forth. So I did that for many years, but it's quite a grueling industry to be in. It's not very family friendly. You do long hours. It's not really 9 to 5. And especially when you're in the cockpit doing long haul, you find yourself working against your body clock the whole time. So you're fighting to be awake when your body wants to be asleep, and vice versa. So my family needed me, so I thought I'd had enough of that. And I did some consulting in the air transport industry for a time, helping other airlines to bolster up and become more efficient with their flight operations. And then my wife and I set up our own business so she's a trademark attorney, which is a specialist intellectual property discipline in law. And she did all the client work, and I did all the background stuff to keep the business running, to look after the finances. And I played a lot on the computer side with the IT, the CRM that we had, and also the case management system. None of which was Salesforce, because in all honesty, I hadn't heard of Salesforce at the time. Well, I'd heard of it, but I perceived it to be for very large companies, and little old our business, it would have been a sledgehammer to crack a nut. So after we sold the business a couple of years ago, I was at another career juncture again for about the third time. And I went around. I got some coaching from a lovely company called Career Shifters, who took me through a whole process of learning and examining really what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And in the alumni of Career Shifters was Heather. So I saw her career success story on this Career Shifters website, and I jumped across onto the Supermums site, and it was yeah, I thought, this is for me. So I then took up the admin course last November, and so I really went from Salesforce 0 to Salesforce admin and BA certification by sort of April of this year, April, May, I think I was when I had it all done. And then I went through I added on to that because for all the reasons that Heather has just set out, I thought it's all very well to have the technical skills, but if you're out there doing your bit as a Salesforce admin, whether it's as a consultant or as an in-house admin, I really felt that the consulting skills that I had learned many years ago in another industry probably weren't going to cut it. I realized things had changed. I realized things were done very differently in the IT world. I had to learn what on earth was agile. I'd never heard of that. We didn't use that system. I'd certainly heard of change management, but so Heather's consulting skills course really did fit the bill, and it gave me tremendous confidence to go forward and set myself up as an independent consultant, because I really felt that I'm very happy to work as an employee, but I just you know, given all the experience and the journey that I've taken along the way, I would rather have the freedom to be independent. And if that takes me a bit longer to build up, I don't mind that. I can afford in terms of the time to do that. So I can't recommend it highly enough. You know, all the aspects of project management, change management, and there is no shortage of politics that does come in, really, when you're dealing with your client, whether it's your in-house client or as a consultant. You really do have to navigate quite a delicate path at times, because and the consulting skills course will teach you all of this. You need to be sure that whilst you're eliciting what it is they want to do, and however strong your opinions are on how you think it should be done, you have to make sure that they own the whole process, and all the decision making has to come from them. If you try to cram it down their neck, that might be okay for a bit, but then later that's probably going to bite you where it'll hurt.
Thank you, Bill.
I'll take a pause there and
Oh, but I think also what was so successful about your experience is when you were doing the work experience on your admin course, you managed to convert that into a paying client, which is fantastic and testament to it. And we've loved seeing those success stories. Do you want to just talk about how you positioned yourself to kind of make that happen?
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'd love to sort of make it out to be some very complicated formula, but what I did was that, first and foremost, I love the client, because they are still, I'm still with them, and they were fantastic people. The charity does fantastic things for disadvantaged children, and I actually during the internship stage, I went down to visit them. It was about 100-mile drive, but you know, I just thought, I really need to see firsthand what sort of a setup it is. and it was brilliant. Got on very well, and I really felt in the heart I want to do more for these people, and because they had a Salesforce instance that had been implemented about a year before I started, and there were a couple of other interns there that had done some great work, but they were also, the implementation was originally done with an ISV, a software vendor, that it's a very complicated booking system, and unfortunately that was a botched project. And just as I was arriving, they had already all but made the decision, already served notice to that ISV to say, look, we're not going to work together anymore. And then when I came and I was then introduced to what, they already had a list of stuff that they wanted me to do, but I was obviously spending loads of time looking inside the org. And there was all this stuff that was just everywhere, every object, every page you opened, there were just fields and stuff that was about to become redundant. The functionality that they were trying to get used to get working just wasn't working. So we had to navigate around that, and we even considered whether it would just be easier to start with a whole new instance. And they couldn't get their heads around that. And to be frank, I didn't have the WASTA to say, look, let's do that. I was talking to my own mentor from Supermums to say, what do you think of that? And he said to me, well, Bill, I've been in situations where I've recommended that to clients before. He said, but 9 times out of 10, they just won't do it because it scares them. They just don't want to do that. But anyway, we got past that and we started to little by little make things better, make improvements. And my internship was running out quite quickly. The hours, the 48 hours, it's not very much. And I said to them, look, I don't know how it works. It would have to be done through Supermums, but if you can find a way for me to stay on with you, I'd love to do it. And that I just simply asked. I did no more than that. I wrote them a little proposal. It was a short email. I thought no point in writing anything long. I said, let's keep it simple. Whether you want to take me as an employee, I'd be happy to do that on a part-time basis in some way that's affordable for you because they don't have much money. Or if you prefer, we can do it at arm's length. And of course, I'm used to working at arm's length with clients because of my previous business was all about doing that. And I already had a company set up. But don't let that put you off. You do not need a company to be set up to set yourself up in a freelance way to do work for people. You can just do it, well, at least in the UK anyway, as a sole trader. So bottom line, I just asked.
You just asked. I love that. Absolutely. And you wrote a little proposal, but you built rapport with them as well, which is lovely, kind of all those extra things. And I think it's how you show up and present yourself in that work experience. And, they were a real client for you and worked through that process. So, it's fantastic. Thank you, Bill, for sharing that, because I think it's a really good way of demonstrating the power of the opportunity that's put on the table. And it's great that you used your mentor as well. That's what your mentor's there for you, to be that sounding board throughout those 6 months of your learning journey and your work experience. So that's fantastic that you used that as well. Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah, no problem. I need to find a new mentor because obviously the internship's over and everything. So you need a mentor all the time.
Or just ask in the alumni community. We've got 1,700 people in Slack. So I think
get myself on Slack.
Yeah, well, even in WhatsApp, there's all the mentors are on there. But what I think is really important to have that mentor going forward is to be really clear what you want mentoring in. you know, what products or what skill sets are you needing? Because obviously everybody's kind of got their niche in the community. So, you know, utilize the community as much as possible. But thank you so much, Bill, for sharing your journey and your experience. Has anybody got any questions for Bill at this stage? Any questions? No, all good with you. No, thanks, Jennifer. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Shows what's possible on that. Well, brilliant. If you've got any questions, please ask Bill in the chat. He might stay on a bit longer. I've said he can go and enjoy his evening, but if he's here, please do ask any questions while I'm continuing the presentation. But thank you, Bill, for sharing and for your time this evening. It's been fantastic to see your journey. Very, very inspiring and very proud of you. So
You're very welcome.
So let me bring my slide deck back up. So where were we? So on the journey,